Okay, we're on.
We're on.
hmm
I hope that we can get one of those on air lights.
Lights.
That would be so cool, especially right now because the gym is technically open.
Yeah,
I mean, no one's going to barge in here, but maybe they'll see us if
yeah.
they're
It's
if they're I don't know, getting water or going to the sauna or something.
I'm sure it's on Amazon.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then you'll be an on-air personality.
Yes,
Oh,
officially. Well, we're here to re-record for the fourth time an episode about the many measures of progress.
yes.
I remember that in California that didn't go well. We knew it wouldn't go well because we're at my parents' house and the acoustics were terrible and
Yeah. We
the
were in
room
a
was pretty sparse and
we were in a cool little room, so I thought it'd be a great environment, but it was echoey because
oh
it had
right, we filmed too.
concrete. Yeah, because it had concrete floors.
Concrete floors probably didn't help. Yeah. And then we recorded again before then twice.
I think once or twice we tried to do the same topic, and the files didn't work out. I have since gotten a new laptop, so we will see how this goes.
Yeah.
Fourth time's a charm.
I don't know about you, but I'm already warm.
Yeah, that's all right. We've practiced this, so it should be very efficient, right?
Yes.
It's been months though. What
Yeah, it
is it?
has.
It's June, and we tried the first attempt at this over Christmas break. So we're talking about the many ways to measure progress, basically.
Well, and the reason
Uh,
that we want to be able to measure progress in lots of ways is that a lot of us commit to a gym or to a program with some primary goals and maybe have specific measurements around those goals, whether it's fat loss or strength gain or, what have you, living well. And it, a lot of other important things happen when you're on that ride. And I think it's really easy to forget or
mhm,
to forget to notice
mhm.
what other cool things are falling into place. And so I just want this to be more of a well rounded experience for everybody. And so, regardless of what your primary goals are, I'm sure there's all sorts of other amazing things that have been happening for you. And I just want us to be able to talk about how to measure those, what are the important things to look at, and maybe share some stories about what we've heard so far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know why this just came up for me. Uh, but do you remember the movie Rudy?
of course.
So
Rudy, Rudy.
Rudy, there's the only point in the whole movie where he quits. Like he just is like this guy who won't quit ever on anything. And even though he's turned down and down and down and down, and it's like the last quarter of the last season that he can be there, and he's feeling all sorry for himself. And the maintenance man that he's working for gives him this big lecture about quitting. And he's like, "What's this all for? It's been pointless." And he's just like, hold up. You got to like hang with one of the top teams in the country for 2 years. You got a first rate education. You got, this and that and this." And he's like, "Stop feeling sorry for yourself, so you didn't get to play. Big deal. Like you got all these other things." And it's kind of a cool point in that story because it's like he was just measuring the wrong thing. Like
Yeah.
his one goal was to play, at least one play to like go down in the history books of having been on the team. But he was kind of taking for granted all the other benefits that came with the efforts that he had put in,
Yeah, the whole way through.
Yeah. And so it kind of reminds me that we can do that in the gym or in life in general sometimes too. If
Yeah.
you kind of like have one metric that you're going for and that one metric is just not working out, it's easy to take for granted all the other benefits that you're getting just in the pursuit of that one thing. So,
Well, the mistake is that you hang your hopes on one outcome
yeah.
or one measurement. So, yeah, we'll have to watch that again. I don't remember it as well as I could.
Yeah, I've seen it many times.
It's so good. I always thought that it would be fun to do sport movie screenings here, just like of all the inspirational sport movies.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you know, I don't remember if it's Southpaw.
Mhm.
No, maybe it's a different movie. It's whichever one has Christian Bale that you've been wanting me to see about boxing.
I think
And
it's
it's about
called.
brothers,
Oh,
the
okay.
fighter.
So yeah, I think you're mixing up two different movies, but yeah, the fighter I think is what that one's
Because
called.
I think I saw Southpaw.
So yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't like it that much, but
it was a little cheesy.
the fighter, if that's what it's called, I think that's what it's called,
Mark
is
Wahlberg,
Mark Wahlberg and
Christian Bale,
Christian Bale. Thank you.
and Amy Adams.
And that one we went to see in the theater as a gym way
Way.
back when that came out. Yeah, I took my original gym in like Lake Oswego. We took up 2 aisles of the theater and went and saw that. It was
Man, I
pretty fun.
wonder if we could do a screening like on the side of the house or something and do it in our yard since there's like a really big area.
Yeah, the only
That'd be
problem
so
is
sweet, like a drive-in.
yeah, the only problem is it doesn't get dark until like 10 o'clock at night now.
Well,
Maybe
yeah,
September.
maybe late summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel up to watching it because I just saw a clip of it and it
Okay.
looked really good. The acting looked great.
Cool. The
Yeah.
one movie I've been trying to get you to see that are brothers is Warrior. And that's Tom
That's
Hardy.
not what we're talking about.
No, Warrior is Tom Hardy and another dude I forget the name of. And it's MMA, not boxing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they're both good movies
Okay.
in different ways.
Okay. I feel like the boxing movies have a lot of similar themes.
Yeah, well, a lot of boxers
Like-
have that similar background.
All their wives die.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
More like rough,
Rough upbringing.
and underdog story is pretty
Mhm.
common in that sport.
Before we move on, what's your favorite boxing movie?
Cinderella
I
Man
was just gonna say that too.
is pretty dang good.
It's so good, except for like the first 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes.
Yeah, when he breaks his hand or whatever.
I mean, most of that movie's kind of tragic.
Well, it is. It's just
But-
that I don't know. That sound just kind of makes me sick. You know how that like splits to the X-ray or view or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
But you don't get more iconic than Rocky. I mean, you just can't
Mhm.
ever. Yeah, like he set the whole genre in motion. I think of the like inspirational sport movie
Mhm.
underdog kind of thing.
That one's worth watching every year. When we shop for posters that we want to put around the gym, I always want to have a Rocky Pop poster because it's so inspiring. Yeah. It makes you get off the couch.
Yeah.
Okay, did you take any notes for this? Because I did.
I did not, but I
Okay.
just have a lot to say about it.
So at one time we had like 10 different things that you could measure for your progress. And as I started to write them out, a lot of them overlap. So let's maybe start with some of the more obvious ones first. Most people come to us looking for strength gains. Let's start there, gaining strength. Or maybe we can broaden that to performance in the gym. Go.
Well, you just broadened it up a lot.
Sorry.
That's a huge thing. So strength specifically, we use the Train Heroic app for now. I'm not married to it, but it's good to track. There's a saying, I'm not sure what it comes from, but it's you improve what you measure. So if you're actually tracking your sets and your weights over time, you can see the progress. A lot of times people who don't track, it's very consistent. Some people, it's like, well, I don't want to be bothered with tracking. I'm here to feel good. And they just kind of like come in and do the work and leave. Those people very consistently do not see their own progress. And we as coaches might see them, friends see them, family sees them, and you can see 3 or 4 months down the road. But I actually wrote an article about this years ago, and I used the analogy of your own aging in your face. Like you look at yourself every day in the mirror, or most of us do, cleaning yourself up, shaving, doing your hair, makeup, whatever. And because you see yourself every day, you don't see what others might see if they are like an old friend that hasn't seen you for 5 years and they see a difference in you. And the same thing happens in the gym. If you're here working out every day and you're really consistent, you're showing up and you're doing the work, but you're not tracking anything, you don't see some of the progress that's happening because you're just seeing this gradual thing and that you're becoming adapted to it.
Well, and with that comes the risk of maybe not seeing the progress that you want.
And
right?
that's what I'm saying is that I've had
both can happen,
yeah,
right?
I very consistently see people get discouraged if they don't track. I think it's so critical to track. And some people are really resistant to it. And as a coach, I'm like, well, I'm still going to accept you in my class. I want you to do what you can do. and try to meet you where you're at. But it's very frustrating to me, the people who refuse to ever track, because I know they're going to get discouraged one day and they're just going to not understand the progress that I have seen in them as their coach. So
Yeah.
it's really important to me to track. And maybe I go a little too far the other way. I probably track way more than I need to, but with strength particularly, that's just a nice, like, objective number. Like, you can do what you can do, and that's one thing that's really cool about weightlifting is like the weights don't lie. Like the
Mhm.
kilos are the same for everyone, and
Yeah.
it may be relative to your strength what you can and can't do, but you can compare yourself to the past you and see exactly where you stack up.
Well, and
You know.
sometimes those numbers are like just the nudge you need to push the needle,
Hmm.
right? There, like you were saying, there's some people who kind of come in who are just kind of content with like getting in the movement, calling it a day. But it might be important to like circle back to like why you came here and tracking, sometimes seeing what you did last time or a year ago and being able to outperform that today is huge.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out today. I had Jen in class. She was the only one who was here at 7 a.m., which is funny because our 7 a.m. is either like overly full or the opposite. Like we'll have just a couple of people. So it flip flops a lot. But I just want to throw a shout out to Jen, who made a 10-kilo increase to her challenging 3 sumo deadlift today within a month and a half's time.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Looked really good too.
It did look really good. And, you know, we were only able to make the choice that we did today based off of that tracking that we did.
Yeah.
Right?
Debbie was complaining that she didn't get a trophy because Train Hero gives you a little trophy when you hit a new personal record. And sometimes it glitches, but
it just lags.
We're also new in the strength cycles, so we're kind of backtracking on stuff that we've done in the past. For some people doing tempo work, they're not going to get as heavy as they used to. So she was complaining about not getting a trophy, and Bill was like, we're only here for the trophies.
Yeah, that trophy can be addictive.
It was really funny.
Yeah. So in that, we recommend that you track and also write notes. Write notes to yourself about how that felt.
Yeah.
Right. If that last set of 3 felt like garbage, write that in. Right. Even if you match that number, get close to it. Like, did it finish feeling better next time, or I had more in the tank?
Yeah.
All of that is super helpful.
I always try to explain to people that when we're taking notes, we're sending a message to future you, because in a month or 3 weeks or whenever it is the next time you're going to repeat that lift, you are not going to remember this day. So you want those notes to not just be a tracking system, but also like an advisor. So I talk to myself, like I'll put in there, like, you could do more next time, or you need to back off because that was horrific, or something like that.
This conversation comes up a lot in Barbell Club because our lifting style is a little bit more technique based or nuanced. And so, the very first time you hit a certain...
It's more nuanced than the rest of us.
I'm just saying there's a lot more quality to pick apart. And so maybe the first time you hit a new number, you got there by the skin of your teeth. You got lucky that all the stars aligned or whatever. It's not always super pretty. And so it's a huge win when you're able to return to that weight and like nail it.
Yeah.
And you weren't afraid of it, or you held on to your technique.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times when people miss a lift that had excellent technique, I'm like praising them that like you committed all the way through. Having everything come together on the day is major.
Yeah.
That's always tough about watching weightlifting sometimes, is that it's a good lift or a bad or a no lift. There's no gray area. And sometimes the things that happen up there are dodgy as hell.
Yeah.
But it counts.
Yeah. It counts.
And I get that. I get the importance of that. But there is a benefit in measuring the quality of that lift too, right? It's not just your strength being applied, it's your if
Yeah. And you can
all those nuances.
You can look at that as a type of PR. So this kind of is starting to branch into the conversation that we're actually trying to have here, that we're taking forever to get to. But are
we sidetracked?
The idea is one measurement of a PR is you lifted more weight than you did before.
Yeah.
But another way to think of that is if you lifted the same weight you did before, but it felt better. I look at that as a new personal record.
And
Like,
felt better means it felt lighter. It felt easier. It
yeah,
didn't feel intimidating. Like there are a
well,
lot of ways to approach a lift. And I mean, that's what we see, I would say, the most of, especially when these lifts are showing up again like this. Been there, done that. Like, you know what to expect. And that level of experience is huge. I hope no one discounts how important it is that you just have a level of familiarity with so many things at this point. So that if you walked into another gym, they said that we're going to do sumo deadlifts, you have a frame of reference to build off of now,
yeah.
multiple times over.
Or it's just like a deadlift PR that is the same weight 3 times in a row, but the third time was like great form. And the
Mhm.
first two were kind of dodgy. It's like, I'm so excited about that third time hitting it because it's not the number that really is the victory. It's just like how well you managed the same weight. So
Totally.
yeah, so that's kind of another metric I guess we could look at is your form, positioning, how you feel, the subjective feeling of what it was like to be able to hit that same number.
Well, maybe we should talk about what happens when that doesn't happen, right? Like there are plenty of days where we're after the trophy and it does not come. This is where we want to lean into the other areas
Yeah.
of, I mean, we could continue with performance, but the other areas of progress, right?
Well, I think before we get totally off of performance, there's also other types of performance. So
Yeah.
in peak fit or in, shall we say, GPP, general physical preparedness, there's there's so many different metrics to look at. So we time workouts for basically work capacity in a very technical term, like work as in an engineering kind of physics way of using the term work. But that carries over to your cardiovascular capacity, your muscular stamina, and so you might not hit a new lifting record that week, but maybe you hit a new PR on a timed workout, or maybe you held an isometric hold a plank longer than you did before, or your mobility has improved because you couldn't touch your toes and now you've got a knuckle finger past your toes. And so there's so many different aspects of quote unquote performance that we
Yeah.
can look at in a GPP program, which is part of the reason why I love training that way, is because it's the main reason is because it carries over to all the other aspects of your life, of course.
Hitting all the areas.
And narrow training gets narrow results. So if you're only doing strength training, that's, it does have spillover into a lot of benefit, but you still got to get the cardio in and you still got to do those other things that you may not enjoy as much. But the other side of that is not only does it benefit your life, but it also gives you just a lot of different data to go after and not feel discouraged if one area is lagging sometimes for a long time. Especially the longer you train, the harder it gets to continue to make improvements. And so you have like a Donnie Shanklin story about that, don't you? About
Donnie Shankle?
Shankle, sorry, who like he hit like a very tiny PR, but it took like 2 years or something like that to like add.
Oh, I think it took like 6 years.
Yeah. So I was saying you have the story because you told me about it, but it was like
weightlifting
years.
is also unique too because it's like, let's say you hit a new personal record in training. Like, how long will it be until you do that on the platform and then it counts towards an official total? Like there are lots of layers where that has to all happen multiple times. I can think about the first time I ever hit 90 for my clean and jerk and like how much longer it took after to do that in competition and then be able to do that in competition on a national level stage. There were like
funny because a lot of
layers to the same goal right
it's like
there.
there's two different types of personalities in weightlifting. There's people who PR on the stage.
And then some of us who don't.
And then there's people who come in and they dominate, but you got gas in the tank.
Well, I don't think it's a gas in the tank thing. I think it's an environmental thing. Like I feel my best hanging in the gym with my friends, with the music, with the fun. Weightlifting meets are like way too serious for me. I used to get a lot of criticism that I wasn't taking it seriously. And I understand the reasoning for it all. And like, but people can be kind of hostile sometimes in that situation. It's just not fun for me. So that was something that I just kind of decided that, you know, I'm a local meet kind of girl. That's my thing. It's way more fun than the bigger stage for sure. And then even more so training. Yeah. Anyway, so I just wanted to say one more thing about performance, because you were saying how in our gym there's just so many areas to look at improvement just within our training style. And this is why we have benchmark workouts. My hope is that when we go into our next phase of what's it called? Our next phase of programming, that we get to maybe build some of our own benchmarks.
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing CrossFit benchmarks for so long. And one thing is that I want to be able to honor the members of our gym as inspiration, because we feel like we've gotten to know so many of you so well. And the reason that we come back to these benchmarks is that they've been long standing. You and I have done them for a long time. A lot of other people out in the world have done them. So it just kind of connects us to a broader context of fitness, which I think is cool to be a part of. You know, if someone asks you what your Fran time is, like to have something to contribute is kind of cool, right? You're speaking the same language.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's your bench, bro?
Oh my gosh, how I get asked that all the time when it comes to weightlifting. Like when I would say that I'm a competitive weightlifter, that would always be the first question. And it'd be like, that's actually not part of it at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the name is confusing. In everybody else's defense, if you're not into weightlifting as a sport, you don't understand that weightlifting, capital W, all one word, weightlifting, is a sport. But weightlifting, as two separate words, is just lifting weights. And so, it's you can't blame the general public for not picking up on that. And powerlifting is powerlifting should be called weightlifting, and weightlifting should be called powerlifting.
That's actually a really good point.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe it would be strength lifting. The reason I never say Olympic lifting is because then the follow-up question would be,
did you go to the Olympics?
Yes. Yeah. And so then you're like, no, I definitely have not. So, that's why that whole conversation is a little bit funny. Anything else you want to say about performance?
Well, just as a segue to other forms of metrics, is that sometimes any metric can be a little bit deceiving, because if performance is lagging, that doesn't mean that your efforts are all squandered. And so that's why we have things like the InBody scan.
Yes. So, well, let's go do that next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the InBody scanner, the reason that we have it is it measures our body composition. And we love hearing that everybody is feeling better, doing better in their lives outside of the gym, and are capable of more things. But for a lot of us, some real physiological changes is what we're after. Strength was something that we just talked about, and muscle mass is a part of that same conversation. They're not synonymous, but we're able to measure changes in muscle mass for the better or for the worse. And so body composition is another area that we can track to see progress.
Yeah.
And let me tell y'all, just like without going too deep in the weeds right away, I just want to say, like, your body being a living, breathing thing with so many tasks and demands and circumstances that change every single day, it fluctuates. There's a lot of fluctuation. So I'm just going to let that be the preface to whatever we talk about next.
Yeah. Nothing is linear and perfectly organized, or
in a vacuum.
And there's very little permanence with anything. And so whether we're talking about a PR on a deadlift, like we were, just because you PR'd last month doesn't mean you have that in the tank today. That was just that particular day. You can be in the region, of that, but it's the same with body composition. Sometimes it's like, man, you have a stellar scan and your next one seems to backslide, but it's like, sometimes there's just like these fluctuations that we can't really see unless you were scanning every morning for a year. Then you would see this really, really solid lines and patterns, but it's very difficult if you only have one or two data points to understand actually what's happening, unless it's a big dramatic change.
I leave one of my old InBody scans in here just for reference, and it was a year that I did every single month.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting to look at it because it looks like the data points are bouncing around all over the place, which they do. But the cool thing about looking at a year at a time is that you can see trends, right? Upward trend, consistent trending, or downward trending. And so it might feel like month to month, like nothing's really happening or that the margins are tiny. Then you take a step back at the year and it's like, oh, dang, like I went down 5% body fat or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. And I also bring it out when we do have those difficult scans to be like, hey, this is not representative of everything we're talking about today. And we have to consider how far apart the data points are too. So that's something to really be aware of if you are thinking about scanning. I find myself encouraging people to do it more regularly if it is something that's important to you. You got to get more information for it to really make good sense to us.
Yeah, if you're trying to avoid sarcopenia, which is muscle loss, age-related muscle loss, or if you're trying to get to a leaner body composition, I think those scans really should be done monthly, at the very least quarterly.
Yeah.
And consistently, and just know that like 1 or 2 scans isn't going to teach you much. You really have to have 3, 4, 5 of them to really understand what's happening. Because yeah, same for me. I'm trying to get leaner without losing muscle. So I don't really even care what the weight says, which is kind of something I think we should mention. That the whole point of the InBody is to get you off of the scale and stop obsessing over your weight, because weight is such a poor metric. This
Too
whole
vague a term.
yeah, this whole conversation is just about like measures of progress. But as metrics are concerned, weight is a very terrible
Not very
metric
useful.
for an
Yeah.
individual. And BMI is basically a height to weight ratio. And so
And
it's,
one of those things you can't change.
yeah, you can't change your height.
And then we just deemed the other one not that useful.
Yeah. And so what happens is, what I try to explain to people is like, if you're an insurance company and you're, health insurance or something, it makes sense if you have 1 million people and look at average BMI, then that data can be pretty strong. Like if you have a high BMI, you're more at risk for these diseases. But as an individual, it's almost completely useless, because
Or as an athlete.
that's what I'm saying, any individual, because if you are gaining muscle, you often gain weight, and height to weight ratio means your BMI is going up.
Mm-hmm.
Gaining muscle, unless you are really abusing steroids, that's about the only exception where gaining muscle could ever be detrimental in any way. There is no world where gaining muscle is
No
a bad
downside,
thing.
yeah.
So even if it's increasing your BMI, that's not putting you at health risks. And so that's why I usually just tell people to cross that off. Like, we shouldn't even have it on there.
I usually cross it off for them. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
But the reason it is on there, just to clarify, is like sometimes this InBody scanner is used in large studies. And so it does make sense if you're looking at 1,000 people and you're correlating, heart disease with body weight, you can see those trends matching for the general public in a large cohort. But as an individual, it's totally pointless. So
Well,
your
something that I
scale
just want to
doesn't mean much.
plug in for the InBody scanner if anybody is interested in doing this. And this is actually a service that we want to offer the public. It's not just for our members. They can purchase scans too and have a coaching session with one of us. The great thing about the InBody scanner is that it puts it into context of your age, height, and sex. And so the recommendations and the parameters that it's talking about are all within the context of what's best for your frame, time of life, etc. It's not these huge broad terms of you should do this. If anything, I feel like it helps people identify what their composition goals are a little bit more realistically and a little bit more tailored to what is achievable for them, like what's going to be safe and effective for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, along with composition being a measure of progress, I put how you fit in your clothes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same thing exactly, but I know for me, when I stop fitting into my clothes, that is when I really look at my life, right? Because my love for clothing runs deep, and I like to collect clothing, and if I can't wear it, it's upsetting. And so, noticing that my pants zip up more easily, or I don't need your help to zip myself up into a dress, or I can, you and I wear our wedding clothes, or try to wear our wedding clothes every year on our anniversary.
Yeah.
And there were a couple years where they didn't fit.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a story about?
When I split my pants
Yes.
at a fancy restaurant, but I had a long coat, so it was fine. Yeah. Well, um, yeah, I think we all have things like that. It may not be the clothes, but it might be like um, the thigh gap or
Oh yeah. Well, that's
or
one for me
or
too.
yeah, when you sit down, like, are you bulging over the jeans or whatever it is? Like
Can you
everyone's
reach
kind of
your
got their
shoelaces? We've heard that one before.
yeah, one that I've heard a lot and have experienced myself is do you hold your breath while you tie your shoes?
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it had something to do with tying shoes.
Oh yeah. Because I've been there. I've been heavy enough that I kind of like had to sit down and do like this figure four position to prop my foot up on my other
Why
knee,
do you have to hold your breath?
and then kind of like holding my breath because bending to reach my shoelace, I couldn't breathe
Oh.
because there's too much fat in the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so that's a victory when you don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
These days, I don't sit down to tie my shoes at all. I try to stand on one foot and put my shoe on
Nice.
Every day.
Are these your slip-on shoes? No, I'm kidding.
No, all my shoes.
Just thinking, you have a few articles of clothing that you've had forever,
Mhm.
like over 20 years. And at times I've questioned, like, well, why in the world do you still have that? Especially if weren't like wearing it all the time. But there's a testament that you were able to wear them again, even still, like after all this time.
Yeah. My V-neck red shirt that you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I actually I love that shirt on you. I really do. Um, I know for myself that if I'm not fitting in my clothes, unless it's something very sentimental or something that was vintage or very special, then I won't hang on to it, or I'll like pass it along to your girls or something. Um, because to me, just having all these clothes sitting in my closet that I can't wear is maddening. So, of all the measures of progress, honestly, that one's the most potent to me.
Yeah.
Because for me, the training, if I have to take what is important to me outside of training, it's like living life well, and being able to wear what I want to wear is part of living life well to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joint pain is a big one for me.
Okay. Do we want to talk about recovery then?
Sure. Yeah, that's a pretty powerful metric, actually.
And also broad.
It is broad, and there is some objective data about this. I mean, the fitter you are, the your ability to recover is a strong indication to your overall fitness level. So we can talk about whether that's soreness or stiffness or whatever, but in real terms, we can also do instant recovery type of measurements. Like if you exert yourself to a, say, zone 2 cardio and then you sit, how long does it take you to get back to your resting heart rate? Because if it's 30 seconds, a minute, minute and a half, that's indicating a higher stroke volume. So your heart is working more efficiently. If it takes you several minutes to come down to your resting heart rate, then that means your body's having to work a lot harder to supply the nutrients to those tissues that you had just worked. So, yeah, this is not just subjective. There's some real objective data when it comes to recovery.
Totally. And that's something that we also play around with in our more periodized programs like Rat Pack and Barbell Club. Like, how well are you able to keep up with these percentages that we're prescribing? And the recovery aspect of that is, are you able to come back swinging to perform at that level again or higher the next time we see you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Recovery is huge, and it can be perceived in lots of different ways. less technical. To me, the way I think about what we're doing in the gym and why we train the way that we do is you learn your body. Not only do you learn how to move it in lots of different ways, but over lots of different kinds of time domains, zones, like you were talking about, all these different ways of training your body. And so feel like we start to build this sensitivity around like, oh, I know what heavy but still good feels like. I know how to push without toppling over the edge, like learning how to really make use of the stimulus and be able to regulate your body and still perform well. To me, that's all kind of part of that same conversation is like, do I have the wisdom to come back and like hit it just as hard? And I think recovery is a big part of that equation.
Yeah. There's another way to think about recovery that I think a lot of people can relate to, which is this is kind of like an edge case or like a more extreme example. But if you have back issues, a lot of times what we do in the gym actually feels good in the moment.
Mhm.
You don't find out until like that night or the next morning when you wake up and all of a sudden it's like your back is jacked up.
Yeah.
So
Debilitating
yeah,
sometimes.
so that's kind of another example of like if we see you recovering easier, like maybe you're not lifting more, maybe you're not doing more, maybe you're not changing anything about your workout, but you've been consistent long enough that you wake up without pain the next morning. That's a massive improvement in a very tangible metric.
Absolutely. But I think it's easily missed. Like if we don't prompt that question, like I have a handful of members that like I know to check in with them the next couple of days, or I even ask them like, text me if this shows up for you over the next couple of days, whether it's back pain, headaches, that kind of stuff that tends to set in a little bit later.
Yeah, when we're testing movements, it's like the first test is like any acute pain in the moment. Obviously, we're just going to avoid any joint pain or acute pain in the moment. But I always tell people, it's like, this is a 72-hour experiment. Like we need to see how you feel over the next couple of days before you start pushing the limits on this movement, even if it feels great right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an important thing to be aware of. And it's something I just find ourselves kind of educating people about. And the hope is to see, good progress would be that we bounce back sooner and sooner each time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any anecdotes about that?
Anecdotes?
Yeah. Stories
about recovery?
Bouncing back faster or better, or maybe not.
I mean, I think sometimes it gets construed with like the population that I work with Rat Pack, or we work with Rat Pack is like, I think it presents itself as just more energy in daily life. They don't think of it as a faster recovery to their workout. But what we see is after 3-6 months, maybe sometimes a year, that people are able to do more activities, whether it's golfing or hiking or cross-country skiing, like all these kind of activities. And they see that return. And part of that is an increase in strength and stability and capability from the training. But it may be very subtly missed that you're working out and doing those activities, which means you're recovering faster from your workouts to be able to have the energy to go do stuff like that.
Well, and even to bring it in on a tighter time scale, like that same class this morning, I'm just going to brag about Jen all day. We really pushed the deadlift. We took our time with it to make sure that we had all the right circumstances to really knock it out of the park. And like, she worked hard at the end there. Like it was not I think we found the edge at the end there. I hope she'll let me post the video. And I had told her we had 10 minutes left in class. And I was like, you know what? You fought for that. And we met our goal and more. If you want to call it a day, we can call it a day. Like we still had a Metcon with like biking and running and lots of sit-ups. And she's like, no, I'm good. I'm going to go for it. And she crushed it.
Nice.
To be able to push yourself that hard physically on the strength and then be able to go crush it in the Metcon, she never took a break.
Awesome.
Again, that just shows like she recovered from hard work to do more hard work.
Yeah.
And then she went for a hike after.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rock star.
So she's an engine gal is what I learned today. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I know if you think about like weightlifting meets, like I'd sleep in the car.
Oh yeah.
Like I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Done.
That one time it's one of my favorite stories because we were going to get food out of town and we had it was Corvallis to Portland. So whatever that is, 2.5, 3 hours.
Something like that.
And we went from the college to the gas station. And
This was Eugene then.
In Eugene,
at college.
yeah. And I was filling up the tank to go home, and I got back in the car, and you were asleep. we didn't even make it out of town.
Took a lot out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just quick footnote, like we already have had a podcast about consistency. It's probably one of the first ones we did because it's so important. But
we'll circle back around to
all
it
of these
many more times, I'm sure.
All of these metrics that we're talking about, and especially the specific stories that we're talking about with specific people that we've mentioned so far, they're just always, it's a testament to their consistency.
Yeah.
Jen has been really consistent and made the effort to be here.
It's not an accident by any means.
Yeah.
None of it will be an accident.
Yeah. And so it's not just like a training session. Like we're talking about a consistent practice here. And that's where all these metrics really, there's always a positive metric to pull from with all this variety of metrics when we see consistency.
Well, and I think a reason that we wanted to talk about this is that consistency is hard to keep up because, like you said, we're not always operating at 100% every day that we walk into the gym. And life has a lot of demands that we can make a million excuses not to walk through that door. And even when we do walk through that door, we think we could have done better. Or I used to be stronger, or why is this so hard for me today? And these are just some things to look through as like, oh yeah, there is some movement there, or there is some positive correlation happening there. Because training can be discouraging, but let me just remind you, that's kind of the point in a way. Like we are all seeking to challenge ourselves, and challenging means you're going to meet failure regularly. Yeah. And that's why it's good for you, not just physically, but as a person too.
Yeah. Yeah. When you feel like you're stalling out, it's my favorite metric is your consistency, your willingness to show up.
Yeah.
Like, if we ever, in fact, we reward people for attendance. Every year, top attendees in the gym get a new pair of kicks. And we do that because that's the metric that matters more than anything.
True.
Really.
Yeah.
Showing
I didn't even write that down.
I know. I didn't really think about that before because we've had a whole podcast on consistency.
Sure.
But it's just like...
It deserves it.
But you should give yourself the reward of knowing that I showed up. Like even if the weight isn't improving, maybe your Metcon scores aren't improving and you just feel like you're stalling out, you're showing up, and you should give yourself credit for like, hey, I got 8 workouts in at the gym this week, and I went on 3 hikes, and I did this home, like add up all the work you put in and give yourself kudos whether you got the result you wanted or not.
Yeah, you're keeping that boulder moving, right? There's no more difficult place than to have to restart from scratch.
And that consistency over the long term will move the other metrics that you're looking for.
Totally. It will all come together for sure. The last one that I wrote in here was energy and mood levels. Also kind of broad, but being able to notice, like, how do you feel when you leave the gym? How do you feel on the days that you don't go to the gym? I know that when you and I have too much downtime, I kind of mentally spiral. And as soon as I get to moving intentionally, even if it's for 10 minutes, I instantly feel like my whole life has changed. I just feel more optimistic. Things don't bother me as much. All that thing that person said doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Like how has your mood been? How I don't even know if this would fall into the same category, but like how prepared do you feel to like challenge yourself in other arenas? I really sincerely believe that like the gym changes you as a person, not just how you look or how you can physically perform, but like what happens to you in the neural pathways of the way that you interact with people or see the world or whatever it is. Really changes. Because of what I just said. Like you're willingly challenging yourself every day.
And how you take on adversity, I think we have a culture, we we try not to ever slide into politics in our gym in any way, but I think we have a culture where there's sometimes so much emphasis on disenfranchised or victimized people that sometimes we get into a mindset of the world coming at us. Things are happening to us, and I think the gym is this defining line that I see with people who don't accept that. It's like, no, I also happen to the world. Yes, things happen to people, things that they don't deserve, that and life isn't always fair, but also I am also happening to the world. Like I have some
Pushing back.
ability to push back or to take on the challenge or to accept the thing that's bad that's coming at me and not break.
Yeah.
I can either absorb it or bounce back or whatever
I got
it takes.
chills, honey, and it's so hot in here.
So, I think that's probably the thing I love about the gym the most is it's this philosophical foundation for almost everything that how we live our lives and how we relate to other people. And
totally.
Yeah.
I would say that a big reason that I wanted to work with preteens and teenagers is that I always wish that I got started in this kind of work sooner.
Mhm.
I started when I was 19 and I still feel like that was too late. But if I was 13 and lifting weights and feeling like a badass then, to think about all the things that influenced me negatively at the time, I'd be like, who cares? I can outlift you any day. Or like not even you, but like I can do that thing. You build confidence and integrity with yourself in the gym.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of other arenas in adulthood where you get that.
Yeah. And I think there's value in that there's a self-imposed aspect of it. Because you're doing something hard and you're choosing to do something hard. And that's just a whole other level than just like being strong enough to take on things that are coming at you. It's like you chose the hard path and there's also its own reward just in that. And that it just kind of bolsters you up for the things that you don't choose, the things that do come at you that you didn't choose.
Yeah. Yesterday I had a lot of appreciation for skill acquisition. I had performed that workout that Wednesday and Thursday did, the really short 10-minute, 10 rounds for time of the pull-ups and double unders. I chose to do ring rows, which were really effing hard. I'll tell you that was the hardest part of the whole workout, to do 50 of those. But the double unders, like getting every set of 10 unbroken, which is something that I think I would normally take for granted. But there was something that I was feeling just like really emotional about in the moment, being like, yeah, I still got this. Or like, I took the time at one point in life to tackle this skill. Like I gave myself shin splints trying to learn double unders because I was so committed to learning everything when I was young and excited about it all. And so there was just something really sweet about that moment being like, oh yeah, like I thank myself all the time for having done this.
Yeah.
And still being at it. That's awesome. Even though it looks so different, right? It looks so different than the first time around or when I was 20.
Or the second time around. Yeah.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny that you bring up double unders because I still remember getting double unders. Like there's a lot of different skills that we've picked up over the years of coaching and being involved in this, but I remember what it was like to not be able to do them and then do them. I was already a coach. Like I kind of started backwards. I started teaching other people before I did anything myself. So, but I remember developing that skill. So I guess another metric that we can look at is like skill acquisition.
Yeah. And what can you do now that you could not do?
Yeah.
I think it's easy to glaze over that one too, because we're kind of like swimming in that water. And there's also this expectation that we should know how to do everything already. I can't tell you how many times people tell me like, oh, I can't join CrossFit because I don't know how to do anything yet. And I'm like, where do you think we all learned it?
Yeah.
Right. This is the classroom. This is the lab where that all takes place. And so, there's something so cool about it. And I still have a lot of things to still learn. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It never ends.
Never ends. It just gets to be a deeper hole.
Yeah. Anything that you are chasing after skill-wise?
Well, I think Not so much skill wise at the moment. I am planning on getting back to handstand skills.
Okay, so
Um,
reacquiring a
yeah,
skill.
reacquiring handstands.
That happens, everybody, just so you know. If you put things on the shelf too long, you have to relearn them.
Yeah, there are many perishable skills.
Yes.
Not everything is like riding a bike, but
Such a stupid saying.
muscle ups is definitely something I've actually actively been working on. I think I'm getting pretty close.
Okay.
Body weight has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, it does.
And muscle ups and handstands, but I've been more focused on mobility drills right now because I want to have healthier joints and have experienced a lot of pain in the last few years and tendinopathies that I am sick and tired of dealing with. So, working on mobility and like joint health is kind of a big focus for me right now.
One.
Yeah.
I was talking to Coach Joel the other day. We were watching some other weightlifters on TV, and some of their mobility abilities are just wild. I think we were watching Chinese lifters, which is really top tier there, and it kind of dawned on him that he really wanted to put more effort into his mobility. And awesomely, like, even just doing the sport takes it so far already.
Oh yeah.
But then of course, like, the added layer of attention is going to go way further.
Yeah.
A skill that I have been kind of flirting with are bar muscle ups.
Cool. Yeah.
I have a huge hang up though.
Hmm.
It's really high off the ground.
It is.
It's really scary.
The first time I ever did a ring muscle up, that's what I found is I got to the top and I was like, yeah, cool. And then I looked down and I was like, oh shit, I'm like way up here.
That's what I'm worried about is the oh shit moment and like just making sure that I don't like fall forward or something. I know that won't happen, but when it comes to a new skill, there's like all these irrational fears that show up. But I've been watching lots and lots and lots of coaching videos around it and just lots of different kinds of drills and kind of sifting through what I think is going to be the most useful.
This is a perfect example of what we started this conversation with, which is
it?
That if my goal, quote unquote, is to get back to doing a ring muscle up, in the pursuit of that, I have also strengthened my wrists because I was getting there for a while on any pressing movement. Like 2 years ago, I'd always grab wrist wraps always because I'd get these little electric shocks in my wrists. And it's like, man, I don't want more tendonitis. So I would wrap them and then keep training. Well, as a result of pursuing the ring muscle up, I've been working on the false grip and doing these like drills with the rings and doing the ITYW with the 6-way wrist thing that I came up with the bands.
I love that drill.
And I do that before every single workout. And now I have not had a wrist electric shock for at least 6 months.
Okay.
Like,
so you're
all.
tracking pain,
So
right?
so that's the point I'm trying to get at is like the metric or the goal is the muscle up. But there's all these other metrics that I can also point to that's like just the pursuit of that thing, even if I haven't achieved it yet. The pursuit is bringing in all these other benefits that can't be taken for granted.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think a good place to maybe end this conversation is for everybody to start thinking about what their current goals are. Maybe that's still in alignment with what you told us the first day that you sat down in this office with us was. And then what would be the maybe more obvious measures of progress there, and then maybe think about maybe what the less obvious ones might be.
Yeah.
What are some really cool byproducts that are coming from this effort? Yeah.
Well, I think we should be careful not to have like opposing goals. If somebody's going to a weightlifting competition, they probably shouldn't be training like a marathoner. They want to train like a weightlifter. So there's like specificity there. But even within that, you can look at other metrics that can still complement your primary objective. So if you're in the weightlifting example, for instance, if you are leaner, But retaining muscle, you could be in a lower weight class, which could put you at an advantage
Yeah.
to your weightlifting competition. You know, like, so there's other ways of looking at these various metrics that are still in alignment with your primary goal.
Well, and if those metrics are working in the opposite direction than you are wanting, that might mean that we have to reassess what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That does happen.
Yeah.
Right? My sleep is getting worse. My stress is higher.
Yeah, there's
My
a lot of
energy
value.
is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of been this whole conversation is talking about positive metrics.
Well, isn't that how coaching goes? We're always
Yeah.
trying to like steer towards the positive outcome as opposed to pointing out the negative whatever is going on.
Yeah. But it is important to know that even a negative trend is still kind of a victory because you've learned something, hopefully.
Oh, yeah. It's useful, right? It's useful data.
Yeah.
As is the InBody. I think that that's what makes it so interesting is that it is what it is. It's black and white. You can't argue with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah. I'm glad that's like fourth time's the charm.
Yeah.
We did it.
Let's see if I can get it uploaded before something happens. And once it's uploaded, we'll know we were victorious finally.
All right. Hurry. Let's not jinx it.
Fourth time's a charm.